I'm Katie. I work at the University of Chester as a Student Engagement Project Officer.
And I'm Amber. I'm Student Support Assistant and also an SVLO. Kirsty, would you like to introduce yourself and just tell us a bit about your role and what it is that your service offers?
Absolutely, thanks both of you for having me. My name's Kirsty Williams. I am the Training and Outreach Manager here at RASASC, which is the Rape and Sexual Abuse Support Centre, covering the whole of Cheshire and two parts of Merseyside as well, St Helens and Knowsley. So we are a charity that has been around for over 25 years now, providing support for survivors of sexual violence, men, women and children, no matter how long ago the incident happened, providing lots of support around people who've experienced sexual violence, whether they choose to go through the criminal justice process and have our independent sexual violence or ISVA support, or whether somebody actually just needs some therapy and wants to talk to someone about what it is that they've been through and the impact on their lives. So we offer a full counselling service as well as a children and young people's specialist programme of work as well.
And in terms of the services that RASASC have for people wanting to access support, can you tell us a bit more about them? I know you mentioned briefly at the start about, say, like ISVA and counselling, but what actually is an ISVA and what is that counselling?
Absolutely. Some really great questions that we get asked a lot as well, people needing that understanding of those roles, because often people don't know about them until they get this referral. So our independent sexual violence advisor, so that's our ISVA team, spread across the whole of Cheshire, so they're for people who live anywhere within Cheshire. And they are the people who will support someone who is thinking about or has already reported something to the police. So that might be that they aren't sure whether or not they want to report and maybe just need some initial support from us in explaining the whole procedure of, if I did report, what will happen next? Or for those people who've decided to report and actually been to the police station and done their sort of first initial report, supporting them from then. And that at that point, for many people, it can be quite timely. We're talking of kind of 6 months, a year, 2 years, or even more than that if it's a really complex case. So being able to be there for that person and support them as a consistent face is really important. And that involves liaising with the police, liaising with other services and other support that's in place, informing them of what's going to happen at the next stage, sort of outlining the criminal justice process so that person feels kind of armed with the knowledge around what will be the next stage and what am I waiting for next. And ultimately as well, making sure that the police are keeping in touch with the client or the survivor, and that they're constantly kept updated with the progress of their investigation, and they're kept up to date with some of the key milestones in the investigation. So really focused on the survivor and really making sure they're centre to all of the work that the ISVA does, including actually going to court with them. As long as we can physically be there, we'll support them right the way from beginning to actually getting to court if their case gets to that point.
That's really amazing work. I think it's such an important role to have someone fully on their side throughout that whole process, because it is a very different process for different experiences, isn't it, I guess, and different.
That's what our advocates do. They're there to advocate for that person. They're there to speak up, to be their voice, to make sure that they're always heard and central to the work. So yeah, a key role. Couldn't agree more. And our counselling you asked about. So we have a full counselling service offering pre-trial and post-trial therapy. So the difference between the two, pre-trial is more boundaried, time-bound and boundaried in terms of the evidential details that you can discuss. that's made really clear to somebody once we get the referral. There's discussions at assessment point just to make sure that counselling's right for someone. Soon as we get that referral, our Pathway Navigator team will get in touch with anybody who's wanting counselling and explain the counselling service in a bit more detail, just to make sure that counselling's right for them at this point. And they will explain those differences around the evidential detail, what we can talk about and what we can't, and be really clear so that when someone's coming for counselling, they are knowledgeable around what to expect. But in guidance with the CPS, our counselling is agreed in terms of what we can offer pre-trial and then post-trial as well. So our pre-trial counselling can happen at the same time as having our ISVA support. And then post-trial, once the criminal justice process has ended, they can come back and have post-trial therapy that's a little bit more freeing in terms of what they can talk about.
That's amazing. And can someone access it if they don't want to go through the criminal justice process? Because I know it obviously ISVA's to support that and pre-trial and post-trial, but what if they don't go to trial or they don't want to? Is that still an option for them?
Absolutely is, yeah. So people can choose if they don't want to go down the criminal justice process route and don't want an ISVA, that's fine. They can come and just access our counselling service. So absolutely.
No, great. That's so helpful to explain all of that.
Okay, so Kirsty, who can access your service?
Our service is open to absolutely anybody and everybody, men, women and children of all ages. So anyone can come to us, like I say, at any point, even if the event itself happened 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 6 months ago. So absolutely anyone at any time.
And how would someone get in touch with you?
So we have an online referral form through our website, www.rapecentre.org.uk, where someone can fill in an online referral. It's a direct referral that we receive every day, any new referrals that come in through the night. So you can fill that in whenever suits you. If you are struggling with the online referral, we do have a helpline number 0330 363 0063, and you can talk to one of our Pathway Navigator team who will take the referral over the phone.
Kirsty, is that how you can access it yourself? But can professionals also make referrals on behalf of other people and support them with that process?
Absolutely, yeah. We welcome referrals from professionals as well. So as I mentioned previously, we have all of our referrals are from our website. On our website, you will see 2 versions on the homepage. One's a self-referral, one's a professional referral. We highly encourage anybody who is a professional working with someone to use that professional referral form. It does ask you for quite a bit of detail, but we'll be quite clear in the referral form itself what information it requires. The beauty of this referral means that it can be completed whenever it suits you. It doesn't have to be within our working hours. If you are struggling with that online referral, or if you're having some issues completing it or really want to speak to someone, you can also call our main number and we'd be happy to take the referral over the phone.
And when someone might be supporting someone who needs to access RASASC or has queries for RASASC, for example, at the university, I know we've mentioned it briefly, but we have the SVLO service, which is the Sexual Violence Liaison Officer service, and it supports our students if they've ever experienced sexual violence and they need that person who can help them accessing maybe longer term support or explaining the different support to them. And it is a new service, but I know that we've worked quite closely over the last sort of year, and I think it would just be great to know a bit more about how we work together from your perspective as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Working together is key, isn't it? Especially when we are thinking about giving people the best support at the earliest opportunity. So having people on site to be able to respond to those students that might say something's happened to me but I'm not sure. Having those people there is absolutely crucial to deciding whether or not that person is actually going to do anything about it, whether they're going to speak up, whether they're going to actually encourage a referral. So working together with you at over at the university is kind of crucial for those people getting the best type of support. And we are here, as you mentioned there, Katie, for that longer term, that stuff around court, that specialist support that people might need, working together with you rather than working as two separate entities to ensure that the students get absolutely what they need at the right time.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's really important, isn't it, to kind of take that burden off the student a little bit, and they're not having to navigate communication between 100 different people, and they have a bit more of a streamlined support service in place for them.
Yeah, so important, so important.
And are there other services that you work closely with, in terms of if you have someone you're supporting, maybe they have a different area that they need some support with, and how that works at RASASC?
Absolutely. We have so I would look at, we get referrals from so many different organisations that refer in for our support, and likewise we also refer out to organisations, particularly if we recognise that there is an issue where somebody needs some additional support. So an example, someone might need some support from drug and alcohol services, someone might need some extra help with housing or accommodation. So being aware, and this is where our assessment really helps, because we can really look at the needs of that person. Is there a need for additional support? And actually us looking for where that specialist support might lie, doing those referrals, and ultimately having conversations like today, so that we're actually connecting with people rather than it being a sort of move over and people feeling particularly anxious about, you know, meeting a new service or doing that new referral. So having the conversations, but ultimately making sure that we're always centred on what it is that the survivor needs and what they want as well, not pushing or forcing anyone to make those decisions.
Yeah, it's so important, isn't it? I think making sure that they have the choice at the end of the day of well, what support they actually want and what that looks like and what they need.
We are all,
being really
we are
well informed.
all, we are all about choices. We are pro-choice. Let someone decide. Same with the criminal justice process. We're not here to force or make anybody report to the police. It's all their decision, and we are absolutely giving, and it's empowerment. It's about giving that back to them, that person, and letting them decide what's best for them.
And obviously it can be quite a emotive sector to work in, with what, you know, what we are supporting people through, but it would be great to hear more about what you enjoy about your job and maybe what the best part of it is.
It's so hard to choose something that I enjoy most. There is so many elements of the role that are, you know, we're making a difference. We're standing up for people who've experienced this most horrendous thing that's happened to them, and really being there when they need it the most. For me personally, I like to think I'm here to empower people and to let people know that it's okay to say something, it's okay to stand up and ask for support, and we absolutely 100% believe you. It's not your fault what happened to you, and we're here to stand by you, to go through this next part of your journey, whether that's going through counselling services, whether that's coming through and accessing us for support, but remembering that we are always here, you know, no matter how long ago that was. And that brings me such an incredible amount of I suppose I want to say job satisfaction, but it's ultimately around knowing that we're here for people when they need us, and hearing back from someone, actually, you really helped, or without you, I don't know if I'd have gone forward. I just think it's incredible. And like you say, a really emotive subject as well. So we appreciate the sort of strength that it takes for someone to come forward and talk about this. So valuing that and being chosen to be the one to support them just means such a lot to us as an organisation.
Yeah, it must be an incredibly rewarding part of your job, that maybe a lot of people don't necessarily think of when they think of an organisation that supports victims and survivors of sexual violence. Because obviously when we talk about it, it is a hard topic, it is an emotive topic. But I think the work that goes on across all of these organisations and these services that are out there providing this support is really phenomenal. And I think it's so nice to hear about how that is working in the service, and what you get to see in terms of the good results and the results of someone having the good support there for them through, as you said, a really horrible time in their life. So I think it's really amazing work.
Oh, thank you so much. It's just being there for people, isn't it? When they're at their, I suppose, their darkest moments, or their time when they're really questioning what happened, letting them know it wasn't their fault, that they're not to blame, and that we believe you are key things. Often than not, the people who choose not to report is because they felt judged, they felt shamed, they felt it was their fault. So we're here to kind of flip that and say to someone, it's not your fault, it's okay to ask for help. But often people don't know what help is out there. So it's great to do stuff like this to really put out there this message around support, and that we are here to kind of work with you alongside you as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Kirsty, for speaking to us today and answering all of our questions. It's been really helpful, really informative. And yeah, we just really appreciate having a good working relationship with RASASC so that we can actually support our students and make sure that they have, as you said previously, longer term support, whatever that option might be for them as well.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me.